A portion of today's show is brought to you by Health Diagnostic Laboratory, Inc.
Welcome back to the broadcast. Well, you've heard us touting the benefits of the HDL test here for months, but today we wanted to talk about a specific group of people who have taken it and used it to help themselves get better. Dr. Tara Dall is here to tell us all about their partnership with the NFL Alumni. What a great partnership, because there's so many former players who don't really have great access to health care and really know what's going on with their health. But you guys have been able to come in and really paint a great picture of what's going on, right?
Absolutely, and it was so cool to see how energized they were to really understand better what their risks were and really get motivated to get healthy. And, you know, I think as a professional athlete, you know, you're used to being, you know, in this ship shape that, you know, everybody, you know, looks up to you for how healthy and athletic you are. But then as time goes on and you've retired from professional sports, you know, a lot of things can set in, especially probably one of the biggest things we see is diabetes and insulin resistance. And as you know, we can detect, you know, signs of that on our testing that can really give insight.
Early.
Absolutely. And some of the other genetic issues, there's a lot of, you know, there's traumatic brain injury. There's a lot of things that, you know, professional football players especially deal with.
So you can actually tell, is there something, some part of the test that can actually be indicative of something going on cognitively?
Well, there's certainly some of the tests we do that show genetic predisposition to it. So certainly we can tie that together with the history and symptoms and kind of better understand that.
We've got some video here of some of the testing they were doing. And of course, with professional athletes, one of the unique issues they have is when they're playing the game. I mean, these guys were probably eating 4,000 or 5,000 calories a day just to maintain their playing weight, and then they stop playing and they're still eating.
Right, and it's hard to know how do I eat normally, you know, for a normal person now, and you know, it's just they've such an inspiration, I think, to people who want to make changes in their life, to see how these guys really just took this on and spent the last 6 months kind of competing with each other to get healthy.
Sure.
So it was really, really fun to watch.
Oh,
really
I bet.
Great group.
Well, those guys are always such a hoot anyways. Yeah. But tell me a little bit, and let's get into what you were seeing. I know we can't talk about certain cases, but what were you seeing in these test results?
Right, so you know we always talk about these LDL particles and those ApoB particles, which are much more accurate measures of risk for heart attacks and risk for stroke. And even though cholesterol may be normal, those types of tests we found to be abnormal in actually a number of the players.
Oh, wow.
So that's something that I think stands out. Once we find that, we need to understand what's the reason for that. And in some cases, there's genetic issues, and in others, it's dietary, insulin resistance, kind of pre-diabetic factors that we're able to identify, and then have a very specific diet plan that will really help get people back on track.
And what about heart disease? Because a lot of these guys end up having issues with cardiovascular problems.
Absolutely, and that's what this kind of testing can detect. So it helps us understand risk for cardiovascular disease in probably the most accurate way we can with the NMR lipoprofile or an ApoB test. We also look at inflammatory markers as well, and there's really a lot of insight from all those things too, because some of the foods that people are eating really create an inflammatory state, and a lot of these guys already have a lot of chronic inflammation just from prior injuries and other things too. So,
and I think one of the things that's probably unique to especially former football players is they have to be healthy. You know, when they were playing, during their playing days, they had to be healthy. So once they get out of the league and as the years go by, they're almost in denial about the state of their health. But then they get this test back, and it's very clear on paper what's going on, right? So it's hard to deny.
You can't deny the red. That you see that red in front of you. It's like, it's there.
And what I love about you guys is you do actually give them a plan to sort of help them change so there's not so much red on those pages.
Absolutely, and it's all fixable. That's the thing. I mean, if we really decide to work with their doctors and work with their, you know, diet, exercise, trainers, and everything else, it can really make a difference.
What was your big takeaway from the work you did with the NFL Alumni?
I was just really inspired by their interest in understanding what was going on at a deeper level. It was interesting because they kind of joke around with each other and like tough guys were cool. Some of them actually had some trouble getting their blood drawn because they were a little bit woozy about it, which was kind of cute. But I think, you know, there were some really special moments where it kind of hit them hard that, you mean, I may have diabetes. And it was sort of like the joking kind of ended, and all of a sudden it was like, wow, I'm going to do something about that.
Well, and they've said that the lifespan of former professional football players is a little bit shorter than the average person, so I'm sure seeing it in front of their face really kind of puts things in perspective. Great information. Well, you can talk to your doctor if you're interested in getting the HDL test. We'll have Dr. Dall and her colleagues back with us each Tuesday to learn more about how their test can help you and your family. You can get more information about the Health Diagnostic Laboratory by going to their website, hdlabinc.com. You can also call them at 1-877-4HD-LABS. We'll be right back.